They all share one fundamental trait: the unwavering conviction in their potential. They believed they could transcend their current circumstances, aiming for something greater. They were willing to invest time and energy in their own improvement. The range of possibilities that opens up with the development of new skills is simply extraordinary. I would like to share some illustrative stories, drawing some valuable lessons from them. I will talk about two women who sold their businesses to Berkshire Hathaway, that is to me, for considerable sums of money, in the millions of dollars. Both started their journeys with a starting capital of $2,500. Curiously, the value was identical, the only amount they owned in the world. One of them was an immigrant who arrived in Seattle in 1917, without command of the English language, carrying only a tag attached to her neck. The label indicated Fort Dodge, Iowa. The Red Cross directed her to Fort Dodge, where she was reunited with her husband, who had immigrated a few years earlier. She resided at Fort Dodge for 2 years, and, as she herself reported, felt completely out of place. The language barrier was insurmountable. Frustrated by the difficulty in learning the language, she and her husband decided to move to Omaha. In 1919, they settled in Omaha, where she found a small community of Russian Jews, which gave her a greater sense of belonging. While her eldest daughter, Frances, attended school, upon returning home, Frances taught her mother the words she had learned that day. This woman, Rose Blumkin, devoted 2 decades to saving money, gradually bringing her brothers, mother, and father into the country, sending them $50 at a time, the amount obtained from the sale of used clothes. During this period, he had 4 children. By 1937, after 20 years of savings, he had accumulated $2,500. He traveled to Chicago and purchased as many merchandise as he could, with the goal of realizing his dream of opening a carpet store. This woman, who never went to school, driven by her $2,500 and the same spirit I see in many here, the yearning for a dream and the determination to make it come true, built a company that sold it to me in 1983 for about $60 million. Last year, the company generated a turnover of $1.5 billion. Currently, the 4th generation of the Blumkin family is involved in the management of the company. Rose Blumkin, affectionately known as Mrs. B, worked for me until I was 103 years old. He retired and passed away the following year, a lesson to all Berkshire executives about the dangers of early retirement. You never know what the future holds. Mrs. B, with her modest $2,500, and an important detail, she was illiterate. She entered the carpet business without any particular advantage, but with an unwavering determination to thrive. I knew I could outperform any competitor. He genuinely cared about his customers. It operated with very low profit margins, but it built a formidable business. I witnessed another woman accomplish a similar feat with an initial investment of $2,500. I paid her hundreds of millions of dollars for her company. I realized that it was advantageous to identify and support these talented entrepreneurs at an early stage. I don't want to be approached for hundreds of millions of dollars in the future. I prefer to associate with you from the beginning. So I followed this group, and today I would let me share the story of a singular entrepreneur. Interestingly, I tried to acquire his company, but he turned me down, a move that turned out to be shrewd. This man, whom we will call Jack, was born in 1922 in the heart of the American Midwest, 8 years before me. Gifted with athletic talent, academic life did not captivate him. I want to reveal one detail from the beginning. The company he founded employs more college students annually than any other organization in the United States. Jack, predestined to walk a grand path, although he was unaware of it at the time, attended college for a year before dropping out. In 1941, with the outbreak of World War II and the attack on the United States, he enlisted in the Air Force. However, he was rejected due to health problems. Persistent, he tried the Navy, where he was accepted. He served on an aircraft carrier, flying small aircraft during the conflict, and received 2 distinguished flying crosses. After the war, he returned to the Midwest. Imagine a young man in his 23s or 24s. Interestingly, he went through several jobs before settling down as a car salesman in St. Louis, Missouri. At the age of 35, already integrated into the sales team, he proposed to his boss a partnership in a car rental business. The boss agreed, on the condition that Jack cut his salary in half and invest $25,000 in the company. So, at the age of 35, Jack began his journey in the car rental business, with an initial fleet of just 7 vehicles. The beginning was slow, One of his tactics was to let the phone ring several times before answering, to create the impression that he was busy with other calls, since he rarely received calls. His first venture was modest and did not demonstrate significant growth potential. There is an important lesson here for all of us. At the age of 40, with a fleet of 17 cars, he decided to challenge the giants of the sector. Imagine it competing with companies like Hertz, Avis, and National, which owned hundreds of thousands of vehicles. Its cars were identical to those of the competition, purchased from the same automakers, General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler. In addition, it did not have access to service points at airports, which were already dominated by large companies. However, Jack was determined to stand out. He realized that he couldn't offer a different car, but he could provide exceptional customer service, something his competitors didn't. That's how he founded his company, naming it after the battleship on which he served in the Pacific, USS Enterprise. He passed away not long ago, about a year and a half ago. The business trajectory of that car rental company, whose initial investment exceeded the combined costs of Hertz, Avis, and all the cars sold at the time, is remarkable. The founder, Jack Taylor, and his son, Andy Taylor, a close friend whose daughter represents the family's fourth generation in the business, have built an empire. Unlike technological innovators who revolutionized industries with artificial intelligence, Jack Taylor did not invent anything disruptive. He, like Mrs. B, who prospered in the storage business, operated in an industry accessible to many. However, its differential lay in the obsession with delighting its customers, cultivating lasting relationships, and turning them into true fans of the company. Although he was not an expert in all the technical nuances of automobiles, Taylor understood the importance of shaping customer perception. His attitude and genuine desire to turn each customer into a friend were crucial to success. He managed to take an ordinary job and turn it into an extraordinary undertaking, practically from scratch. This story illustrates several important points. Initially, it demonstrates that success is not always immediate. The car rental business, at its core, involved competing for the lowest interest rates to finance the fleet. It was challenging to delight a customer who simply received a car and sent a monthly check for 5 years. In this context, Taylor's talent seemed wasted. However, at the age of 40, with a baggage of accumulated experiences, he found the magic formula. She took an ordinary business and turned it into something exceptional, just like Mrs. B, Rose Blumkin, did with the Nebraska Furniture Mart. Taylor did not allow himself to be paralyzed by external factors, such as the Federal Reserve's policies or financial market fluctuations. He focused his energy on what he could control, the customer experience. I remember going to Florida to convince him to sell the company to Berkshire Hathaway, but he wisely declined. Since then, the company's value has quadrupled. He knew how to identify the potential of his business and maintained control. Henry Ford, as many know, failed twice before founding the Ford Motor Company in 1903. The real test is not getting it right on the first try, but rather continuously learning, identifying your strengths, and figuring out how to add value to customers. To do this, you need not only the knowledge gained from numerous business transactions, but also a daily and incessant desire to satisfy the customer. In my vast experience, I have never seen a business thrive without prioritizing customer satisfaction. The ultimate goal is that, the moment the customer thinks about buying a car or a piece of furniture, your company is the first to come to mind. May the memory of a positive experience drive you to choose your products or services. I don't remember the exact price of this shirt I'm wearing. Maybe it was a gift. But for illustrative purposes, let's say yes. The bottom line is that regardless of the amount paid, the shopping experience and the quality of the product are determining factors in customer loyalty. I still vividly remember the treatment I received during a purchase. The price fades from memory, but the quality of the experience remains recorded. It is rare to find someone who has had a truly pleasant experience acquiring something they do not intend to repeat. Likewise, an interaction marked by rudeness or indifference will hardly be forgotten, driving the customer away forever. As a small business owner, and as the business thrives, it is crucial not only to demonstrate genuine interest in the well-being of customers, seeking to delight them, but also to instill this mindset in other employees. This becomes unfeasible if the employees themselves do not feel valued and treated fairly. Therefore, it is essential to learn how to replicate this attention and care through your team. To the young people who come to Alma, where we offer various courses, I always give a piece of advice. In personal life, the most important decision is the choice of spouse. It is essential to surround yourself with people who inspire you to be better. Inevitably, we mold ourselves to those with whom we live. In this respect, I was extremely fortunate. I had mentors, friends, and a wife who were always better people than me. I had the sensitivity to learn from them that a better life is the result of higher behavior. I confess that it took me some time to internalize this lesson. Therefore, I advise everyone to seek, both in their professional and personal lives, partners who serve as examples, rather than someone they feel the need to protect or flatter. Simple rules like this: prioritizing customer satisfaction, collaborating with others, and partnering with individuals who propel you to growth can take you to unimaginable heights. Rose Blumkin, who barely spoke English and was illiterate, walked this path and built an empire that today earns $1.5 billion. And the most impressive thing is that, apart from the initial $2,500, no other capital was injected into the business. Nebraska Furniture Mart stood practically alone. I believe that if we look at the furniture industry, we will see that in recent years, little equity has been added to the market. The growth was organic. I deeply admire this group. When I met Dr. Mello's class on September 22nd, 8 years ago, I was impressed. I have great admiration for those who, like you, are dedicated to their work and invested in improving their skills. The 99% completion rate is a remarkable feat. I look at these 2,200 people and I feel admiration. I applaud the success of each one of you and I say with conviction, the best is yet to come. Thank you very much.